Do you use cauliflower? I have to be honest and say that cauliflower was not my favorite before we went low carb. It was okay, but usually I'd had it steamed. I'd never had any of the variety that we now enjoy on a low carb or ketogenic lifestyle. What I'm going to show you is how I use cauliflower, and in fact, how I use cauliflower to make more than one dish. So this goes along kind of with meal planning and keeping things quick and easy. And what I've done already is I took a very large head of cauliflower and steamed it. Now I did it the very easy way. I cut the cauliflower into small pieces, and you can see how small they are. They're actually smaller than bite size. I cut them in small pieces, put the lid on this, and let it just steam in the microwave for 5 to 6 minutes. Now for this quantity, I actually think I went back and did 7 minutes. It's not falling apart mushy, but it's tender. And I don't want it too mushy for the recipes I'm going to make with it. Anyway, this was one large head, and it's a Sunday evening. What I can do is use this to make 3 separate side dishes that we can enjoy through the week. The first thing I'm going to make is super easy. I'm just going to shovel some of this in. It is probably my family's favorite, so they never mind if we have leftovers. This is going to be a Twice Baked Faux-tato Casserole. And again, it doesn't matter if it's, you don't want this steamed mushy because it's going to cook a little bit longer in the oven. So what would you put in a regular baked potato casserole? Well, you probably would start with some bacon and cheese. And so I've got probably 2 cups of cauliflower there. I've got some bacon. And again, just to make this quick, often what I use is the real crumbled bacon. I find this at Sam's Club. And it saves me from using my real bacon that I like to eat for breakfast. Now I'm putting probably a 1/3 cup or so. The quantity is going to depend on how much cauliflower you have. If I was using that whole head, I'd use a lot more. You can always add more, and you're going to eyeball it, to be quite honest. So it's a recipe just in terms of a general idea of how I put it together. I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder, not a lot. My husband's not a huge fan of garlic, and so I'm not going to use a lot. I'm going to put in butter, and I've got my Kerrygold. This is unsalted Kerrygold. I cut it into 6ths, and I'm probably going to put about 1/3 of a stick. It's an 8-ounce block of Kerrygold. I may add more, but just for the quantity I have, I'm probably going to put 2 pieces in there, and it will melt as it goes, as I stir it, because it's pretty hot, and it doesn't have to be perfect. The other thing I'm going to add, and this is again what you would add just with a regular baked potato casserole, is some sour cream, and don't be shy with it. I'm also going to add some cream cheese, and the cream cheese acts not just for flavor, but as a little bit of a thickener. And I'm just gonna mush it in there. I'm using unsalted Kerrygold, so I'm going to add some salt and pepper, and I'm also going to add some cheese, some shredded cheddar cheese. Now I could shred my own, and I do have a good quality cheddar, but this is me in a hurry, and so I'm just going to use the shredded. Shredded is far from ideal because they often put potato starch and other kind of icky things to keep it from sticking together, so it's not what I would like to use all the time. But when you're trying to hurry and feed your family, from time to time, it is a reasonable option. Let me give this a stir. And again, so far what I have is probably 2 cups of cauliflower, maybe 1/3 to 1/2 cup of crumbled bacon, and that's looking really good, like it's probably the right proportion. I'm just going to cut the butter up a little bit so it can finish melting. I'm going to add my seasoning to this. And that's basically, I've already put a little garlic. I'm going to put some fresh cracked black pepper. And this will have to bake. So again, it doesn't have to mix perfectly. But there's my pepper. And I'm going to add some salt, since that was unsalted Kerrygold. And you can salt it at the table. And there's going to be salt in the cheese and bacon, so don't overdo it. And then I'm going to add minced onion. I love keeping minced onion on hand because when I'm in a hurry, it's just perfect to pull it out. I don't have to worry about, do I have a fresh onion in the house, or do I have time to chop that fresh onion? I'm putting maybe a tablespoon. Again, I don't want to overwhelm it, but anything that you would put in a baked potato casserole, you would put in this. All right, everything's mixing really well, and it's cooling off just by virtue of having butter in it and having the cream cheese. Smells really, really yummy. You can see what I've got so far. Now let's add some cheddar cheese. Somebody made a comment on one of my videos that I use a lot of cheese in my recipes. Well, I do. The best recipes have cheese, and I can't apologize for that. This is a 2-cup container, and I actually have measuring cups, but I don't know why I want to dirty those when I can just throw this in. And again, all of this is compliant for a low carb, high fat diet. Emphasis on high fat for us, for my family. And it looks pretty yummy. We like a lot of cheese. The cheese melts and makes it all gooey. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. So of this 2-cup package, I'm using probably a little more than a cup, maybe a cup and a quarter. Again, the quantity is going to depend on how much cauliflower you have. And so this is butter, sour cream, a little cream cheese, some bacon, and cheddar cheese, and some minced onion. And you can leave the minced onion out if no one in your family likes it. A little tip I'll give you, my brother lived with us for a while and he doesn't like onion, and I learned to use onion juice. And onion juice can give it a flavor without the telltale pieces of onion. So if you have somebody in your family who thinks that he or she doesn't like onion, get some onion juice. All right, and that's it. That one's done. And I'll bake that up. My son doesn't eat this, so if I can limit portions with my husband and daughter, then I might be able to get 2 meals worth out of that. And this will go into an oven, 350 degrees. It's warm. It'll bake about 20 minutes till it's all nice and bubbly. And they will fight over the leftovers on that one, assuming there are leftovers. Okay, that one's done. That's the Twice Baked Faux-tato Casserole. Let's move on. This is one of my favorites, and I've actually served this as a main dish before, depending on what I put in it. It is a recipe that was actually done by a lady who has a fantastic blog. Her name is Melissa, and her blog is I Breathe, I'm Hungry. And when I first saw that, I was still just starting keto diet. I still weighed probably 230 plus pounds. And I found her blog, and I thought, wow, this is like a long lost sister, because if I'm breathing, I'm hungry. And I just really fell in love with all of her great recipes. Now I'm going to put the rest of this cauliflower in my Ninja. And if you don't have a Ninja or something like it, a blend tag, buy yourself a Christmas present or a birthday present, because this thing is fabulous. So what I didn't put in there, remember, I'm just working with 1 head of cauliflower. I'm putting it in here. And of course, I'm going to blend it all up. Now, this is the twofer. I'm going to put into this butter. Actually, let me use this butter I've already cut up. Those are my dogs, my assistants. You may see a nose pop up at the counter and just eat it. But anyway, I'm going to put the rest of this butter in, and this is probably about 5 ounces of butter. Again, your quantity depends on how much you have of the cauliflower, and cauliflower heads vary so much. So put butter in there. I'm going to put heavy cream. There's a difference between heavy cream and heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream has stabilizers added to it and generally has more carbs than heavy cream. And you can see I've done a generous pour on that because I want this to get nice and creamy. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to add some salt, and I'll wait to add the pepper. And let's give this a whiz in the Ninja. Now, when I say a twofer, you can probably guess. I'm going to make Cauli Mash with part of this. Hang on. And I've got a spatula so I can scrape it down. I don't know what I've done with my spatula. I'll grab another one. I swear I have a spatula. Okay. I'll scrape it down. And this is looking really good. We've got the butter and the cream and cauliflower and a little salt, and that's really all that's in this so far. want to use some of this as Cauli Mash. It's not as creamy and smooth as I want it to be before I put it on the table, but I'm going to take out as much as I normally would for Cauli Mash. That's probably about right. Put a little bit back. That's probably about right. Now, what I'm going to do with the rest of it is I'm going to make one of Melissa's recipes, and it's a pepperoni cauliflower casserole. I'll link to the recipe in the comments. What I love about this recipe is it has cauliflower with a pizza taste. Now I'm putting pepperoni in here, and I put usually 12 or so pepperoni, and I'm just putting it into the mixer. Now I've also made this adding, yes, the pepperoni is going into the mixer, and I'll add some more to it later. And I'm also going to use some Italian fried cheese. Again, the quantity depends on how much you have. I put that in there, and it's shredded. But I also have a lovely cheese, a bruschetta. It's a Sargento Tastings, which is a bruschetta flavor. It has some Italian herbs and sun-dried tomato. Use whatever your favorite cheese is, what you would put on pizza. I've also added to this recipe Italian sausage, not in the blender, but just in the casserole dish, which I'll show you in a minute. I've added black olives, mushrooms, anything that you would like on a pizza, you can add to this. So, I've got my mashed cauliflower. I've added the mozzarella, the Italian cheeses. I'm adding the sun-dried tomato and Italian seasoning. I'm also going to add garlic and Italian seasoning, because what you want is a pizza flavor. And this may sound like something you would not enjoy, but I can tell you that everyone I've ever made it for loves it. This is the Italian seasoning. I'm going to add just a little bit, just enough to know it's there. I'm not going to add any onion, but I could. And I am going to add a little bit of garlic powder. Just a little. I love getting 3 dishes out of one cauliflower. So basically I took some time to chop up the cauliflower, put it in the microwave, steamed it, and now I'm making 3 separate dishes. I'll put this in here and process it one more time. And I'm sure you could use a food processor for this if you didn't have a blender like this. Okay, I'm going to push it down one last time, and I promise we'll be done with it. And this is going to bake, so it doesn't have to be perfect. The oven is wonderful for giving us for things like this. So, that was a few little pieces of cheese I had earlier. Let's dump this in this casserole dish. And again, we'll bake it 350 degrees until everything is nice and bubbly. And we'll put some cheese on top, and we'll add some more pepperoni to this. So it's already warm. Now, what I could do at this point, instead of baking it, is I could add it to, let it rest in the refrigerator, and then when I'm home from work later in the week, put it in the oven and let it bake. So I'm just going to scrape this out. And it's pretty thick. It has a wonderful color. I don't think you can probably see it, but and it smells fantastic. Super, super easy to make. And generally all things I keep on hand, like cheese, the garlic powder, all of the seasonings, all you need is the cauliflower. Again, I'll link to this recipe, but what we did was we put the rest of the cauliflower into the food processor, processed it up, and we're going to spread this out. Now, put whatever pizza toppings you want. You could put your black olives, you could put some mushrooms, put your favorites. And I'm going to put more pepperoni on top, like this. Just make it kind of pretty. And I'm going to then put mozzarella, or whatever your favorite Italian cheeses are. Parmesan is a real favorite in our house. And it doesn't take a lot of harm to give it a lot of flavor. This comes out all wonderful. And like I said, Italian sausage is really good in this. Canadian bacon would work. Whatever your favorites are. I have these two, so I'll just stick them somewhere. Okay, you don't want those on top because it'll burn in the oven. I'm going to take the 5 cheese Italian, cover this up, and bake it at 350 until it's all wonderfully bubbly. And this, again, is something that my family will fight over. I can serve it as a main dish, particularly if I have Italian sausage with it. I could serve it as a main dish, or I could simply use it as a side for something else that went with Italian, or some kind of roasted meat. Okay, so here's dish number 2 out of 1 cauliflower. And the last dish, this is just my Cauli Mash. What I'm going to do in it, I've got the same cheese grater. I'm going to take a really nice, it's already got some butter. I'm going to probably add a little more because butter makes it better. I'm also going to add some sour cream, some cream cheese, not sour cream, some cream cheese to make it really nice and thick. A little more Kerrygold. And then you want to use whatever favorite cheese you have. And a good quality cheese is important here. And you can use cheddar, and you may not be a cheese snob, so it may not matter as much to you. So if it doesn't, it doesn't. But you can't put enough butter in this. And you can see I've already put some butter, and I'm putting some more. And that needs to be washed because I'll need to use it again. But I am going to put this in here without cleaning it. And I'll shred this cheese. And this is why I use shredded cheese a lot, because it is a pain to shred the cheese. My daughter said, "Mom, you've got all these cheese graters and things," and she's right, I do, but I don't use them. Now, if you'll notice, this is a small bowl. I'm going to mix it the best I can. If you'll notice, I tend to serve things in these glass bowls. This is a dish that you could, I have lids for, and I can actually take it from the table, put the top on it, and put it in the refrigerator for leftovers. And I do that on purpose because, well, for one thing, it's just faster when you clean up the kitchen. So this is my Cauli Mash. Lots of butter, some cheese, and ideally, what I'll do, let me grab that. What I'll do is put it in this for my Ninja to process it. You might have to warm it a little bit, just depends on what you have going on. I might have to add a little more cream and maybe too thick. But like I said, this is the bowl that I'll serve it in, and this is the bowl that I can store leftovers in. And I love doing things quick and easy because, to be honest, there's just too much to do. Okay, this is my Cauli Mash. I'm putting a lid on it. And this is a side item, so there isn't a lot of it, but I think that's okay. Pretty much it's going to be 3 of us eat this. 2, unless I can get them to share, then it'll be 3. And there's your Cauli Mash. So, what have I done? I took 1 cauliflower, cut it in small pieces, put it in the microwave 5 to 7 minutes until it was nice and tender, took about 1/3 of it, and made a Twice Baked Potato Casserole. Here's the Twice Baked Potato Casserole, where I added bacon, cheese, cream cheese, sour cream, some garlic powder, and minced onion. That's going in the oven. I took the other 2/3 of it, put it into my Ninja, and made a Cauli Mash. To part of that Cauli Mash, I added pepperoni into the mix, some Italian seasoning, some Italian cheese, a really nice sun-dried tomato Italian cheese, process that, put it in my casserole dish, put pepperoni on top, and put cheeses. I could have added other pepperoni or other pizza toppings to it as well. And then I took the rest of it and made a Cauli Mash. And the Cauli Mash is just like potatoes, just like cream potatoes. Cream, heavy cream, butter, lots of butter. I put some cheese, I put a nice quality cheddar cheese, Cabot cheddar cheese. And I want to put the top on that. We'll have this with our roast, the creamed potatoes, or the creamed potatoes. We'll have this probably with pork chops later in the week, maybe Tuesday. And then this, if I can keep them out of it, we'll have it tomorrow night with some other kind of meat. I hope that this gives you ideas. It's really quick and easy to make 3 dishes out of one with cauliflower.